Hello! Well, I was just about to prep some pages in my journal and I thought I'd do a quick video to show you how I do that. Now, I have this lovely journal here I bought recently. It's from Artway, I think. Artway, yeah. It's a lovely leather-bound journal. Actually not very expensive, so this was recommended to me by a friend. You probably know who you are. And I've been using this recently when I've been at church mostly, or in a meeting, church type meeting, just to make some notes. And I kind of add to it later, but I thought it would be nice to prepare some pages in advance so I'm not just faced with a blank page. And I thought I'd see how that goes. So I'm going to start by got some scraps of paper. Just going to protect the other pages because I'm going to stick some stuff down and I don't want to get glue all over the place. So I'm just protecting those there, and I've got a selection of papers here. I'm going for something fairly neutral, something that I'll be able to write over, so I don't want anything too dark or too patterned. That might be too busy, so I might not use that. That's just about okay. If I use just a little bit of this kind of paper, it just provides a nice little something to the page without overpowering it. Got some book pages, more music there. Yeah, see, I pulled this out and now I'm thinking, well, that's, unless I use a tiny bit of it, it's going to be too overpowering. And I've got a couple of old books here that I got from second-hand shops. I think, well, this actually might have been my grandma's book. And I quite like the fact that this is all about fruit in the garden. So it's got some nice pictures, but I might just use a bit of the paper. It's lovely and brown and old. This one is basic recipes. So again, this might have been my grandma's, but it's just a fun thing to use as background papers, really. So I'm just going to, I'm not going to overpower the page. I'm going to put a little bit of something. And I've got some gel medium here. This is by Jackson's, fairly cheap, acrylic fluid matte medium. Just got some in a little pot. So what I might do is just have maybe 3 pieces on each page. Might put that one just over the middle binding. What else will I have? Just use that one up and put that maybe across there. So I've got an old brush. Just going to paste that down and over the top as well. Then it will give me a surface to write on. So I've started taking a little kit to me to church, and it's I mostly just use pencils, to be honest, but I'm getting a bit more confident at taking other things with me, some colouring materials. But what I tend to do is make notes while I'm there during the sermon, and if an image comes to me, I might scribble something. Then I tend to finish it when I get home, and that helps me sort of meditate on it again and think about the sermon rather than it just sort of going in once, and often I don't remember a lot of it. So I find the note-taking really helps, and going back over that either later on that day or the next day. So that's the kind of thing I mean, and I might, when that's dry, add a bit of paint to it, but something neutral. So I might use some buff titanium, maybe mix that with a bit of white to make it even paler. Or you could put a few dabs of paint on. I mean, why not go for it with some fluorescent pink after saying, I'll keep it fairly neutral. But there's nothing wrong with just adding a little bit of colour, is there? Next time I'm at church with this journal, that might spark something off with me. Stop there before I get carried away. There you are, you see. And when that's dry, I'll be able to write on top of it. And it just gives the page something a bit more interesting than just that. So I've prepped a few pages just by sticking down some collage. So I've got that one you've seen, a couple of bits on that one, treacle scones. That was from some music. But I just want to add, still drying, but I'm just going to add a bit of paint to this one. I don't want to add too much because, again, getting a pencil to work over it can be a bit challenging, and I don't want to have to deal with that while I'm at church. But I can work around the paint. So Titan Buff is really useful because it's quite light and natural, but it just adds a bit of something. That'll do to that one. Could add a bit of stenciling. I've got this stencil out, and again, well, I'm going to use white actually. I've got a bit of white here on my palette. Because the pages aren't completely white, that does show up a little bit. I don't know if you can see it. And again, it just adds something to the page without being too distracting. And if I'm at church and I turn to the next page and it's something that I think, oh, that doesn't really fit, then I'll just turn and go to the next one. And if I want a blank page, there are plenty. I don't really mind about going through chronologically. Some people do, and I've done journals where I've started in the middle because that really freed me up and not worry about starting a new journal and it being perfect. I kind of got over that now, and I don't mind starting at the beginning now, but I found that really helpful at one point. I'm just going into random pages, and you can date your pages so that if you do want to find a chronology, then you can. Yeah, I just I go with whatever really, as you probably know. Okay, so I think that'll do for those. Oh, I might add a bit of white on there, just to push back that writing, so that if I do want to do something on it, I can. And I'm going to use gesso because it gives it a slightly better surface for writing on. I'm leaving it so I can see the treacle scones. It just pushes that back, so when that's dry, I'll be able to scribble over that and that'll be fine. Maybe I'll add a bit here as well, just to push that pattern back. And blend that in a bit better. Maybe I just like to get my hands messy. So there. So I've got one with a bit of pink, one that's plain. I might find when I go through here that some words jump out at me and I can circle those. I don't know if they will because it's all about barley and farming. Well, you never know, do you? You never know what God's going to point out to you. That one. And that one. With a tiny bit of pink. Oh. Okay, thanks for watching.